How's it going, everybody? It's Juan Galt, and I want to tell you guys about Kambo. I did Kambo a couple days, and I just want to record my experience before it's before a few days pass and stuff. Here's the dots. Did 6, and so originally thinking maybe 4. I didn't know really what to expect and stuff, but the shaman, her name is Alex Pardois. She was like, "No, you can handle 6." I'm like, "All right." So 6 it was, and yeah, it was a pretty interesting experience. It was so the first time when the way that it works. This thing is it's frog poison from a Amazonian green frog, and the story goes that there was this shaman called Kambo whose tribesmen were dying, and he was trying everything that he could. He was trying to save them, but they were just sick and something was wrong, and he didn't know what to do. He tried everything he knew, all the rituals, all the herbs, all the different concoctions, and nothing was working. And so in his kind of great crisis, he decided to take some psychedelics. As far as I have read the story, there's no description of which ones. But he took some, and then he walked into the jungle. And so he took some psychedelics, walked into the jungle, and asked the Great Spirit for wisdom. And the Great Spirit told him, "See that frog over there? Grab that frog, and here's how you harvest its poison, and here's how you deliver it to your tribesmen." I'd like to think that the frog just walked up to the guy and is like, "Hey man, how's it going? You got a problem? I got a solution for you. Rugged." And yeah, so something like that happened. And so he did. He listened to the Great Spirit. He harvested the green Amazonian frog, took it to his tribesmen, delivered it, and they got better. And it's a really interesting story for a lot of reasons. It's a green frog. I like green frogs. They're showing up everywhere. They're kind of a symbol of changing times. They're of course we have the plague in kind of ancient biblical stories. When they come to Egypt, and they sort of just raining frogs type of thing. We also have the phenomenon of Pepe, right? With this whole like Trump versus Hillary election, right? And the Pepe frogs becoming a scandal, and the ACLU being like, "Hey, it's a racist frog, man." And where it's just a meme, people can just modify however they want. And then it's kind of a viral meme. And then also it's in Asian stories. Like there's a lot of stories where there's like the princess is walking down the park, and in one story she has this golden nugget with wings, like the one from Harry Potter, and she's just loving it. Very valuable thing, the most valuable thing perhaps. And then she drops it, and it falls in the lake, and then this frog comes up and is like, "Hey, you want that thing, don't you?" She's like, "Yeah, I want it." It's like, "Well, tell you what, I will go and get it, but you have to let me come home with you and share a meal with you, and sleep in your bed for one night." She's like, "Oh fuck." That doesn't sound damn. All right, okay. I want the things. Okay, fine, you can do that. So the frog goes into the water, into another dimension, in a sense, another realm where the princess can't enter and be competent in. And the frog goes, captures, retrieves the golden winged thing and brings it back to her. And it's like, okay, well, here it is. Now let's take over to your place, right? And she's, you know, annoyed, but like, all right, fine. And so she grabs the frog, takes it home, and they break bread, and then she lets him sleep on his bed. And it's a real kind of struggle for her. It's like, what the hell, you know, this is, you know, awkward. She's kind of fighting it, and he's like, hey, we made a deal. And so I guess she lets him sleep in her bed, and then suddenly, I don't know exactly at what point, right in the morning or something, the frog turns into a prince, and guess what? They live happily ever after. So that's a story, and it's like, you know, popular sort of ancient story, or like sort of kind of fairy tale. And then there's another version of the same story, which is that princess is walking down the garden. This time she doesn't have a golden thing, but she's walking down the lagoon, and this frog comes up and says, hey, what's up? She's like, whoa, talking frog, what the hell? And the frog is like, yeah, you know, I have that effect on people. How's it going? She's like, you know, things are okay, I guess, everything's fine. And the frog is like, hey, listen, I can't exactly remember how it goes, but it's something like, I know you're looking for, oh shit, I can't remember exactly how it goes. That's embarrassing. We're in the middle of a story. It's something like that. Like, she takes him, he goes down into the water, gets she takes him home. He talks her into taking her home, taking him home, and then he turns into a prince again, and then it's something like that. I can't remember exactly. I'll share a link below where some of these are kind of discussed in more detail, and not just because there's frogs in them, but because there's actual sort of lifestyle or life messages in them that are useful, right? Like strategies for life that are useful in them, even though they're kind of weird and sometimes sort of creepy. And the thing about the frog that's kind of fascinating to me is that they're animals that can live both outside the water and inside the water. They're hybrids. They transition between worlds. And in this case, for some reason, in the past couple of years, they've become sort of a symbol of comedy and kind of mischief and trollery and poking fun at the lies, in a sense, of and the sort of people's kind of calcified beliefs, their solidified conclusions or something like that. It's poking fun at structures. You know, it's bringing chaos into the normal order of things, the known order of things. Just pokes fun at things, and that's why it pisses so many people off. Or like, it's just kind of like a weird polarizing frog, because, you know, if there's something that pisses you off, there's probably a frog meme for it. So that's interesting. And then there's one more thing. Did you know that there's green frogs inside of Bitcoin? I'm not crazy. I'm telling you, it's true. There's actually green frogs inside of Bitcoin. What I mean by this is Pepe Cash. You guys might have seen the interview that I did on my YouTube channel, my crypto YouTube channel, with John Villar. He's one of the lead developers of this thing called Pepe Cash. He's a Venezuelan developer, and basically people are creating Pepe Cash memes, or Pepe memes, crypto related or whatever people feel like making a Pepe meme for, and then they put like values on them, like power and strength and health and stuff, sort of like you would with Magic the Gathering cards. And then they create a set amount, they create a token for it on top of Counterparty, which is on top of Bitcoin. It's a sort of Bitcoin token protocol. And then they start selling them, and people are trading them for value. And one of the reasons for that is because the Pepe Cash team is sort of developing a game for it, and this game is supposed to be, you'll be able to play with decks of Pepe Cash trading cards against each other, people, and bet money, bet Pepe Cash, and, you know, winner takes some coin home. So there's literally frogs, green frogs inside of Bitcoin. So anyway, I like the frog. I actually ran into a frog here at my house the other day, a few months ago. maybe a year ago now, and that was this beautiful green frog. Right around the time that I was kind of looking into like this sort of Kekistan and sort of all this mythology and this internet stuff that's kind of popped up and stuff. I know some people think that it's like, you know, alt-right or whatever, but it's not. It's a meme to express kind of well, first of all, it's green, so how could it be racist, right? I mean, what is that, greenism? No. Frogism? No. And second of all, I don't know. There's something kind of mystifying about it. Anyway, let's get to Kambo. I mean, that was 10 minutes of me talking about frogs. But why did I do it? Well, there's a few reasons. One of them is that Kambo is one of the things I identified in it is that it helps you purge, and it's not like a very extreme form of purging. You know, you drink a lot of water and then you do this thing, and then you basically puke out the water, and it comes out with like this foamy vial thing. And the way that Alex explained that to us is that it when she burns, or when the shaman burns your skin and then applies the medicine, as they call it, which it is, you know, it definitely is healing if you do it properly, then it goes into the layer under your skin, and I'm not exactly sure what part of the body that is. There's a full sort of system there, and then that kind of flows through your body, and then it binds to the like somehow it retrieves toxicity from, I think it's like toxins from your body, and then flushes them into your gut, and that's why you want to drink a lot of water, and then when you puke it out, those toxins come out, right? And so that's one of the main reasons I want to do it. I want to kind of detoxify a bit and you know, flush my stomach, and it flushes another thing here in your stomach that I don't know what it's called. I think it's here, and so that's cool. But then the experience of doing Kambo is also quite interesting, because it's a warrior medicine. After Kambo, the guy that discovered it in the legend, comes home and treats his tribesmen, they kind of gain a great respect for this frog. And then when Kambo, the shaman, dies, the story goes that Kambo's spirit merges with the frog, and then it's his tribesmen and Amazonian tribes from then on continue to practice those ceremonies. And so the frog medicine is called Kambo. And people like Western people will call it Kambo, or I've heard it called Kambo, but as far as I've read, it's spelled Kambu, and in Spanish that would be pronounced Campu or Kambu. With a B would be Kambu. But I guess it depends how the Amazonians pronounce it. So that's and so that's what happened there, and then apparently, according to Alex, a lot of the hunters in this sort of hunter-gatherer tribes in the Amazon would actually like consume Kambu, or you know, like go through the ceremony before they go hunting, because it cleans their toxins, and with that goes a lot of their smells, and so they can go into the jungle, and it definitely like activates your gives you an extra energy, gives you kind of like, there's a sort of sense of strength and power in that, because you're being poisoned by an animal that nobody else will eat. That's one of the things that's magical about it, is that this frog is so poisonous that snakes won't eat it, because if they do, they'll spit it out, because this thing is crazy poisonous. And so when you apply it properly and you survive it, which is, you know, I mean, if you're done right, it seemed quite plausible, quite doable, then you kind of gain a sense of strength in your body. It's like, oh shit, my body can handle some serious poison, some serious shit, right? So it's a kind of a warrior medicine, and so I took the medicine, and one of the things that they tell you happens, and indeed it does, is that your blood pressure starts going up into your head, into your body, like your heartbeat starts rising, and then you sort of feel the blood rise to your head and your brain and stuff, and some people's face kind of swells a bit, and you just, and then you know, usually what I did, and I think people, you know, I've seen people just kind of start breathing more deeply and drinking water, and then, you know, I sweat a lot. Like I sweat a lot when some people sweat a lot, and then you start kind of getting a little bit like nauseous, and so you start sort of letting out the water and purging the water, and then sometimes you, like my arms started getting tingly, and then my legs started getting tingly, and it's an interesting experience, especially if you're conscious of your body, and the ritual, the way that Alex did it, was very much grounding, in the sense that we were at sort of being conscious of our body and our physiological experiences. Right before that, we did rapé as well, with like this sort of very kind of special mix of herbs, and just your nose, you're like. I don't know if you guys know rapé, but it's a pretty, yeah, I don't know. First time I did it, I'm not sure exactly what. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know really what it's like if you do it a few times. Why exactly people do it, but it definitely got me out of my head and sort of into my body, right? And so your blood flow is going, and then you're purging water and bile and stuff, and then all of a sudden your blood pressure drops, dude, like a cold shower just drops, and ooh. And some people, like, you'll see the videos, they're just like, and then boom, they fall, right? And that moment was very interesting for me, because I felt it, and I went kind of like this, and in my mind I was like, there was just a great weakness in it. It's like weakness, right? And I was like, well, I could give into the weakness and see what happens, and that would have probably tripped balls if I did, because it would have been like sort of like a kind of near-death experience moment where I'm just like letting go and I'm just flying. Or I could resist it, and so I chose to resist it because I didn't want to die. But that was sort of the fear that I would die. I suppose if I had more trust in my body, I would have let go. I don't know what would have happened, right? But I probably would have been fine. And so I resisted it, and by resisting it, I sort of kind of chose to live. And there's something there that I've been thinking about lately, because I've experienced a couple of deaths from people that I know in the past few months, and there seems to be something in both those examples, and not always, but in both those examples, I think there was something of a kind of like, okay, well, I've lived enough. It's time to go. So one of them was somebody that lived a long and good life, you know, and it was her time, and I got to meet her before, and we got to hang out, and I got to experience her beauty, and then she passed away right after I left and stuff, like a couple of weeks later. And it was interesting, like, okay, it's like, okay, I've achieved what I've, you know, there's some signs like, you know, I won't get to experience your future type of thing, or something said like that, and we're all like, really? Why? You know, you're giving up now? Well, I think she did. I think she was ready to go. And then there's this other dude that was just kind of like into heavy drugs, and like just, you know, his life just kind of exploded, and his family left him. His sort of new family left him, and then he got into drugs, started getting into fights, and then, you know, got into a fight that he couldn't win, and that was that, right? And so you gotta wonder about people that are going down that path, if they're just giving up on life and they just want to be taken out, and that seems to be what happened. So I wonder how much there is. I wonder about the will to live as a real kind of psychological phenomenon, where you're actually holding on to the consensus of everything in your body to maintain consensus, and, you know, squeeze that energy out and keep going, or whether you just let it go and fade into your body. And if you do fade into your body and fade into that weakness, but your body kind of activates the unconscious sort of mechanisms of survival anyways, then would you trip balls and have this kind of near-death experience, and sort of, who knows what you would see. People report all kinds of things when they go through something like that. So that was interesting. I might consider exploring the other path next time I do Kambo if I ever do. Which I might. I probably would. And but I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. It's just kind of an interesting, odd thought that's been kind of floating in my head lately. And then the last thing that I got from it was that sense of like, once you survive it, you know, and it wasn't that bad for me. For some people it hits them really hard. This one girl, she's kind of tiny girl, she's cute and tiny and very sensitive to plant medicines and stuff and all these things. Like 3 dots and she was out for like an hour. She just passed out basically. So, you know, depends who you are and to some degree probably your body weight and all kinds of things. Right? I'm Colombian, so maybe there's some, you know, Amazon is in Colombia and it's between Peru, Colombia, Venezuela, I think. So anyway, Bolivia as well, I think. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, it's a pleasure, a great experience. I feel cleaner. I feel more clear-minded, I feel a sense of strength in like my convictions that I didn't have, and also kind of I put various intentions into it, which so far are stronger than ever. Perhaps I think I definitely feel a strength that I didn't quite feel before, and it's a strength of will. You know, it's a strength of conviction. But plus my body feels cleaner and I feel more kind of flowy. I don't know. Yeah, so, you know, it was worth it. Alex is a wonderful, amazing shaman. She's just, you know, a delight to engage with in this ceremony, and in general, I've had a, you know, pleasure engaging with her. And she sings very well. She sings this like Kambo songs, and, you know, really knows her shit. Like she was a doctor before. She practiced medicine for a couple of years. So if you ever get to do a Kambo ceremony with her, I would say it was a very positive experience, and I would probably point you to her. I would recommend you consider that. And yeah, shout out to Macy for putting together an amazing retreat over here in Acapulco. It was a wonderful place to choose, and the people there were amazing. They're still going. I only went for the Kambo, and looking forward to more of these. I think it's pretty interesting. You know, do it if it's calling you. That's how I did it anyway. That's what I did. You know, it's not medical advice or anything. And you guys have a fantastic day. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you like these kind of stories. I know it's 23 minutes. You know, it's not the shortest little video, and I kind of rambled on here and there, but I hope you enjoy it, and you guys have a fantastic day.